The rainforest of Amazonia, where life, in all its beauty and myriad forms, reigns supreme. Less known than the surface of Mars, its inhabitants stranger than science fiction. This is Earth's final, unexplored frontier. This is Amazonia's Big Top. The world's mightiest river breaks through the canopy of the largest tropical rainforest on the planet. Combined with its tributaries, the Amazon drains into an area of almost 7 million square kilometers, more than half of South America. Like a giant circus tent, 9 times the size of Texas, Amazonia's tree-covered world hosts the greatest variety of plants and animals on the planet. "60 meters above the ground, less studied than the sea floor, until recently, this incredible spectacle defied even the most intrepid scientists and explorers. So many of its riches have yet to be recorded that it is believed that this bizarre and beautiful canopy could house half of all the world's species. In addition to millions of insects, Amazonia's impressive cast of characters includes at least 300 different mammals. At least 175 different lizards, over 400 reptiles and amphibians, tree climbers of every shape and size, and a third of the world's birds. These magnificent creatures all have their own unique tricks and talents, costumes and camouflage, and command performances. "100 years ago, the American explorer William Beebe wrote of the Amazon,
"Yet another continent of life remains to be discovered, not upon the earth, but 100 or 200 feet above it, extending over thousands of square miles. There awaits a rich harvest for the naturalist who overcomes the obstacles, gravitation, ants, rotten trunks, and mounts to the summit of the jungle trees."
Since Beebe marveled at this incredible spectacle, scientists have had to multiply many times over all previous estimates of the extent of life in these treetops. Only recently, the sheer number of termites has come to light. More than 200 species call the Amazon River basin their home, a cumulative mass 3 times that of all the birds and mammals in the rainforest. Yet, almost 100 years later, Amazonia is revealing her secrets slowly, like crumbs from a giant's banquet table. For a vast number of species, the canopy of this tropical rainforest is a desirable place to live. With so many creatures clamoring for a piece of the pie in this high-wire world, competition for survival in this big top is fierce. Millions of years of neck-and-neck rivalry mean that these animals have evolved their own unique strategies for survival in the rainforest canopy. Evolution has led the sloth up a more leisurely ladder to its place in the canopy. With only half the muscles of other animals its size, the sloth subsists on one of the poorest diets. This languid mammal can take up to a month to travel 2 kilometers, if it had to. Although it can stand, it can't walk on its feet, so it must drag itself around by its hands. In the water, however, this lazy beast becomes something of a bathing beauty and can swim quite well. Avoiding any strenuous competition for food, the 3-toed sloth selects the leaves and twigs only a few other animals can stomach. With this low-cal diet, the sloth has little energy to spare, so it sleeps up to 19 hours a day. It locks itself under a hard-to-reach branch to digest. It will take 100 hours to process a single bellyful. The ability to rotate its head almost full circle means this contortionist can keep an eye out for predators. It's also the only wild animal to have plants living on it. Each hair has microscopic grooves which provide a comfortable home for olive green algae. It's believed that these plants, and its extended naps, help camouflage the sloth from its chief predator, the harpy eagle. Sloths give birth to a single baby, which spends 6 to 9 months clinging to its mother. Three-toed sloths are not normally aggressive, but like any mother defending her child, she has a trick or two up her sleeve. You are what you eat in the rainforest, and leaf eaters fall low on the list. The largest monkeys in the New World, the howler monkeys, are not finicky when it comes to food, which may explain why they are also the most common monkey in Amazonia. It hasn't turned to the low-calorie extremes of the sloth, but it eats poorer fare than just about any other monkey. Like the sloth, the howler's slow metabolism forces them into the topmost branches of the canopy, where they can warm up in the morning sunshine and jumpstart their day. They rarely explore much of the forest, and when they do, they cover less distance than other monkeys in the Amazonian basin. Less energetic, less fastidious, less curious. Howlers do one thing more loudly than just about any other land animal: howl. In fact, these guttural sounds can travel up to 5 kilometers through the dense forest. It's said that when the first explorers penetrated the depths of the rainforest and heard the howlers' calls, they fled in terror, fearing that some monster had encircled them. Oddly, these bellicose howls and hoots actually kept the peace by defining territory and keeping the monkey troops out of conflict. Standing 1 meter high, weighing in at 8 kilos, with a 2-meter wingspan, the harpy eagle is unequaled in strength. According to Greek mythology, the harpies were half-woman, half-bird monsters which swooped down from the heavens to seize the souls of the dead and punish them. Today, it's a tamarin that faces the most powerful talons of any bird on Earth. Unassailable, the harpy eagle headlines Amazonia's big top. Beneath the multi-layered world of the canopy, the groundlings compete for survival. But in the tropics, physical conflict is often a dangerous and deadly last resort. Millions of disease-promoting organisms will invade even the most minor injury, causing fatal infections. Avoiding conflict is a constant preoccupation in nature, especially here. To avoid surprise encounters, the animals repeatedly announce their presence. While howlers use sound to signal to other groups, the tiny squirrel monkey has evolved a less raucous, though no less discreet method. It urinates on its hands and feet to leave its personal signature, a chemical barcode, as it scampers along the branches. But no system is foolproof, and where animals compete for resources, disputes over real estate are inevitable. Although it's heavier than the squirrel monkey, the capuchin's tail can't grip as strongly. It's completely outmatched. Despite putting up a good fight, it flees the canopy and escapes to the forest floor. Sometimes the reason for these bouts is unclear, especially when the participants aren't obvious competitors, such as parrots and monkeys. According to Indian mythology, the golden-handed tamarin got its conspicuous markings from having to roll out the sun each morning. Tamarins are naturally inquisitive. They like to know what the neighbours are up to. The golden-handed tamarin, however, takes its curiosity to dangerous lengths, teasing the neighbouring macaws. But the macaws are not amused. Their powerful claws and nutcracker beaks makes this a risky game of cat and mouse for the tamarin. Outnumbered, the tamarin decides it's time to quit while it's still ahead. The tamarin is only a minor distraction. The macaws have other, more important matters to attend to. The breeding season is approaching, so the two birds get in the mood by preening each other's feathers and faces. They will mate and pair for life. The macaws are some of the forest's most extravagantly conspicuous inhabitants. But for each known rainforest species, there are many more unknown species. Yet all these creatures play a role in the jungle's intricate drama of interdependence. In the give-and-take tradings of Amazonia, the most intricate relationships in the rainforest are between animals and trees. In this competitive market, leaves are the commonest currency. Some trees produce toxins to repel insect invaders, but at a cost that drains the tree of valuable energy. Other trees have developed a more diplomatic solution. They've struck up an armistice with some of the ants. These trees provide one particular kind of ant with room and board. At the base of each leaf stem, special nectar spouts provide the ants with a steady supply of high-energy drinks. In return, the tiny ant vigilantes act as neighborhood watch and defend the tree from attack. They will even take on and drive away the far larger leaf cutters. The arrangement suits both parties. Scratch my back and I'll scratch yours. Or in this case, feed me sweets and I'll bite the legs of your enemy. Such interdependence provides a strategic advantage in a deceptively lush environment because it's more difficult to survive than it looks. On the darkened forest floor, the lack of sunlight strangles many plants. At the other extreme, the topmost branches risk being seared by the sun. But somehow, despite everything, life thrives. April, and the storm clouds roll in again across the mantle of Amazonia. The dry season is over. the annual deluge sweeps across the whole face of this epic wilderness. The water worlds reassert their dominance over the land, bringing new life. Aquatic prey and predators, like the giant otters, return to feast. The mighty Amazon and its tributaries escape their banks, taking hold of the land and submerging almost 350,000 square kilometers, an area larger than England, to a depth of over 10 meters. Here, amidst the flooded forests, the most dramatic events in the life of the canopy will soon unfold. The surging water levels encourage the trees to put on a dazzling display of floral fireworks. The flooded forests make up only a small fraction of Amazonia, only 2%, but almost half of all the flowering trees and plants in the entire rainforest grow and bloom here. The sudden explosion of colour attracts an equally phenomenal concentration of life. "60 meters up in the air, the stage is set for a spectacular flower show. The rains have just begun to slow, and the trees begin to reproduce. Flowers will light up these forests continually for the next 6 to 8 months. But the individual blooms will only last for 2 weeks at a time. The rainforest has one big thing on its mind: sex. A thick and heady scent fills the air. The variety of colour and form is equally intoxicating. But how does the gene-laden pollen in these flowers fertilise other plants? It's important that the right messenger delivers the right pollen to the right flower. So the forest giants turn to tiny allies. Insects are the most numerous creatures of the rainforest, perhaps 30 million in all. In this mating game, most pollinators are insects, like butterflies, which flutter and flirt with one flower and then another. But how do you bring brand loyalty to the butterfly brain of an insect? The flowers drive this process by luring tiny allies with their decadent colours, sumptuous scents and voluptuous shapes, and discourage the less desirable visitors. But insects are not the only cupids in this complex sex life beneath the canopy. Hummingbirds, among the smallest warm-blooded creatures in the world, are the guardian angels of flower nectar. Only a high-energy fuel such as nectar can drive a metabolism with a heartbeat 10 times as fast as a human's.
This show was created for you and your family to watch together. Welcome to Nat Geo Wild.
Each flower delivers only a few drops of precious nectar. The hummingbird, like a tropical cupid, is just one of the many pages assisting the reproductive liaisons that go on beneath the big top. Pollen is not the hummingbird's only cargo. Tiny stowaways hitch lifts from bloom to bloom. With so little time at each stopover, these hungry flower mites must race up and down to the next meal. It's the equivalent of a 100-yard dash. In addition to allies, the trees have enemies too. One of the many reasons they need to produce blooms in such profusion is because of flower thieves. These monkeys aren't helping with the forest's fertilization process. They're neither pollinating the flowers nor spreading seeds. To do that, the trees have to look to other rainforest creatures for assistance, and they do it day and night. Evening comes, but this does not mean that activity ceases. Far from it. While others are preparing to wind down, a whole range of animals are waking to begin their day. As the night falls, the howler monkeys make their final calls, and woolly monkeys put on an evening performance of gymnastics. High in the treetops, the 24-hour circus never sleeps. When one act ends, another begins. It's time for the late show. Another cast takes over in the big top. The night shift is beginning. The pollination must go on. The still air fills with the cloying perfume of night-blooming flowers. Unlike the vivid colours of the day, these nocturnal blooms wear white. Drab by day, at night they come splendidly into their own. Instead of relying on colour, they rely on fragrance to attract visitors. They get fewer takers, but their visitors tend to be more loyal. During the day, flowers attract insects and birds, but flowers of the night lure very different clients. More than half of bats in the Amazon depend on plants for their food. These bats use echolocation to navigate the night sky. By producing ultrasound waves that bounce off objects and produce patterns which help the bats find their food. They are colorblind, so garish bouquets would be wasted on them. These night flowers need to be large and conspicuous to be spotted more easily. It's a brief encounter. The plant dusts pollen onto the bat as it drinks. Bats and plants get mutual satisfaction. But attracting the wrong sort of attention is as much a problem at night as it is by day. From the plant's point of view, its precious pollen is wasted on a ravenous caterpillar. Bats don't just transfer pollen and fertilize flowers. They provide an important service to the forest by spreading the tree's seeds. First, the trees bribe the insects, birds and bats with food and nectar to travel from plant to plant. Now, they must spread their seed somehow. Time for a new incentive: fruit. This bat, gorging on the pulpy fruit of an inga, has only one concern: to eat as much as it can. It is oblivious to any assistance it might bring to the plant. Bats are not the only performance artists who can hang upside down. A wily Amazonian raccoon can always find a way to reach inaccessible fruit. The kinkajou has its priorities the right side up. But what does the tree get out of the arrangement? Plants produce these delicious and nutritious gifts at great personal cost. And they need the best start in life that they can get, if they're to survive. Any offspring that doesn't fall far enough from the tree can face many difficulties. It's rare that a sapling will survive close by. Only by hitching a ride inside the stomach of a passing animal can the seeds travel away from their parent tree to where conditions may be more favorable. Birds, bats, monkeys, fish, and this kinkajou are all unwitting cargo carriers. The kinkajou and the seeds will be far away when the next day dawns. The flowering crowns of the Amazonian rainforest are a feast for the eyes, but with the harvest that follows, the banqueting truly begins. By day, monkeys take over where bats and kinkajous left off. They ransack the heavily laden branches. They're only too pleased to indulge in the canopy's succulent bribes. In doing so, they too will help spread the seeds of the trees, which will in turn literally support their existence. With food so readily available, many species of the canopy will bear their young at this time of year. It's easier now to feed a growing family. This baby attaches itself to its mother's fur and will get a free ride for the first 6 months of its life. Woolly monkeys, like howlers, rarely, if ever, descend to the ground. These youngsters are constantly on the move and always at risk. Their mothers keep a wary eye out for danger. Rivalries and real estate disputes are set aside for the moment. Young monkeys are favourite prey of forest predators, especially if they too have young to feed. The harpy eagle breeds at this time of year as well. The chick hatches after 2 months of incubation. It takes a lot to raise the demanding baby, which must be fed for at least 10 months, and the parents will wait another 2 or 3 years before nesting again. Meanwhile, they bring monkeys, sloths, the occasional reptile, and a few birds for their fledgling. In Amazonia, the nest will almost invariably be placed in the fork of the highest tree, with an uninterrupted view of the top of the hunting grounds in the canopy below. With fruiting, the next stage of the forest's regeneration has begun. Some birds are allies in this process, but others, like the macaw, are not. Parrots are seed destroyers, rejecting the flesh in favour of the seeds themselves. The tree uses chemical warfare in its defence. Seeds containing bitter toxins. But these parakeets obtain temporary immunity. The nearby clay lick contains minerals which neutralise the poisons in the seeds. Of all the birds of the Americas, it's the parrot family, and in particular the macaws, the largest of the parrots, who are most vividly associated with Amazonia. The earliest maps even refer to Terra Papagallum, the land of parrots. Macaws are choosy eaters. They will travel hundreds of kilometres to reach their preferred food. But patches containing only their favourite trees are rare. This is one such place. These palm trees will produce their crop with the coming of the high water floods. These are baruti fruit. Only the macaws can crack open the large nuts that enclose the fleshy interior. The baruti trees cater for the macaw's every need: food, bed, and a secure nursery to breed. The anxious parents look on. The chicks emerge for the first time, one after the other. Both parents feed the growing chicks by regurgitating food for them. The high-level nest surrounded by water protects the young against hungry predators. In the dangerous world of the Amazon, birds place their nests carefully. Some make them as inaccessible as possible. Oropendolas hang their woven baskets from the ends of branches. Closely related, the caciques have gone a step further. Caciques look for allies. They build their nests alongside colonies of wasps. They count on their aggressive neighbors to deter intruders. In the palm grove, the blue and yellow macaw chicks grow rapidly. After 3 months of intensive feeding, they have outgrown their nest. Although these sibling birds don't know it, a mortal race has begun. Only the stronger will make it across the water. The harpy chick is also facing its first flight. It's time for the chicks to take off without the benefit of any previous flying lessons. Strength is survival. By climbing to the very top of the tree, the more powerful youngster can exercise its wing muscles for the first time. The twins have only one chance to get airborne. Predators wait to snap up any failures. The second chick is not strong enough to leave the base of the hollow tree. Unlike its brother, it's never properly stretched its wings. Such differences can be fatal. The Amazon does not smile on second place. Only one fledgling needs to succeed for the parents to pass on their genes. The harpy eagle, too, is taking its first tentative steps to independence. Its career stretches ahead, to rule over the great green kingdom beneath it. The waters that once rose have now begun to fall. Finally, the season is about to change again. As the rivers ebb, they will take the Amazon's most precious cargo with them. The life locked in the seeds to spread it further. Birds, bats, kinkajous and monkeys have all played their part. They have helped the trees spread their seeds for the greater good of the forest as a whole. Now, the Amazon itself plays a key role. In the waters below, fish reap the fruit to carry and sow the future forest further downstream. In seeking their own survival, the creatures of Amazonia ensure that the big top itself will live on. The mighty water wheel turns again to regenerate the land it has drowned. The land will be reborn. All animals, the mighty and the meek, will again inherit the earth anew. Amazonia, that so overawed William Beebe over a century ago, remains one of the world's richest ecosystems. A conglomeration of creatures from prehistoric lands and oceans past have all made a new home here. Great natural assets deserve great efforts to protect them, despite the fact that nothing in this ever-evolving world remains constant. But future ages too may hope to share the magic and the mystery of life under Amazonia's big top.